snapped. She just absolutely snapped. Like, she was doing it to me.
It just make you want to do one of those, you know. Right, look. It do. Giving all the 90s vibes.
That's like, that's a do right now. You got it. Alright, y'all. We are back. This is Whitney.
And it's your girl Alicia.
And this is the Luxe Hour Podcast.
Join us weekly as we encourage Black women to elevate into luxury.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to be back.
I am too.
How long has it been? 5 years? Jesus,
I know it.
I feel like it's been forever.
Jesus came back and then went.
Child, Jesus came back. We got a problem. Treat of the week.
Treat of the week. Let's dive into that. I'm so excited. We have a lot of ground to cover.
Yes. Okay, you want to tell our new folks what is treat of the week if we got people just now tuning in?
Good idea, Whit. Good idea. So the treat of the week is essentially the luxury that you indulged in for the week. We just like to share that with each other, toss around some ideas essentially, but also remind ourselves of the luxe lives that we are living or elevating into.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So what about you, Whit? What was your treat of the week?
So I'm developing a thing for sunglasses.
Ooh,
okay, I'm developing like an obsession. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because I'm always seeing them in my job, but I love them. And so probably 3 weeks ago, I bought a pair of Bottega Veneta sunglasses.
Gorgeous.
So fire. I love them. Like, I wear them in the stores. Girl, I be like, y'all don't need to see my eyes.
Don't speak to me.
I wear them sunglasses in my mask. I know people be like, who is this? Don't look at me.
It's a whole costume. It literally is a whole mask.
Yeah, no, literally. But tomorrow I'm buying some Burberry ones when I go to work. So we got an additional 20% off this week.
Ooh,
so hello. So I'm gonna get some Burberry ones. So I'm gonna just keep on feeding my little sunglasses habit that I recently started. That's my treat of the week.
I love it.
Luxe eyewear.
And honestly, those shades are bomb.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they are fire, you guys. Like, one day we have to at least post them for the people.
Yeah.
So that they can be blessed.
Okay, I'm gonna have to post them for y'all. I think the reason I like sunglasses, like, they're like silent luxury. You know what I mean? Like, the Burberry ones have like the Burberry plaid on the stem, but the Bottega ones, like, you can't tell that those are $300, $400 glasses. You know what I mean? Like, can't tell. So I just like that it's luxury that's not flashy. Something about like the secret of like,
if only you knew.
If only you knew. You can't afford to see my
These
eyes.
These are both things, baby.
I don't know. But so yeah, that's my little luxury of the week is some new sunglasses that I plan to indulge in tomorrow.
Yes,
as long as they're not sold, please.
I'm excited to see the Burberry shades too.
They
you know, like, I'm excited to see those. I mean, granted, I'm already sold on the Bottega ones.
Yeah.
Wait until you guys see them.
They're cream. The Burberry ones, they have a tortoise shell.
Okay.
And they're cream, and then they have like on the stems is the Burberry plaid print. So they're light, and then they have a silver where the Bottegas are gold. These are silver.
Okay, so it's a nice. Okay,
yeah, nice.
A bit more of a range. Okay. Yeah, definitely with the color.
Yes, ma'am.
See that. Okay,
that's what I got.
Excited.
Okay, what about you?
Awesome.
What's your treat?
So my treat of the week, I am actually wearing. So this is a do-rag. I want to show you guys how long it is and beautiful and flowy.
That's cute.
So this is a luxury streetwear brand actually called the Do-Rag Shawty by my girl V. So she recently launched and I just became obsessed with this color, this print. And again, it is a luxury streetwear, guys. So we definitely I don't believe anyone will have sticker shock, but I feel like it was very reasonably priced for a luxury do-rag. And again, for the length that you have, it kind of makes me feel like it's my cape. I like to put it to the side, but you can also put it in the bag. It's perfect to wear like on, vacation or something like that. But of course, I'm kind of extra show. So I wanted to wear it on the show.
But it's very much giving poetic justice. Like it's very much giving like brown sugar, 90s. Yes, girl. It's giving homie love a friend.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Pony Lover Friend, we were definitely vibing to. Well, Wit had us in a whole vibe. We were listening to One in a Million by Aaliyah. So it definitely gave the 90s vibe for sure. But yeah, so that was my luxury that I indulged in for the week. Definitely happy to support a Black-owned business, to support a Black woman, and to support such an amazing person, which is V. If you guys haven't tapped into her, we'll link her brand. So just elated to, support the brand, but it's also amazing, great quality. Great quality. So just something, like you said, I think it's one of those things to where it's like it's not necessarily a silent luxury, but it's a subtle luxury.
Yeah.
So to your extent of like the Bottega ones can be a silent luxury because you don't know. You could think those are shades from Forever 21. But a person who understands a good pair of shades, I would definitely see those shades and say, "Okay, baby, what are those?"
Because they look very luxe
in high quality. But again, to a person that doesn't have a luxe eye or hasn't had that luxe experience, they don't know the price tag or the ticket, but And I think that's the luxury that we need to upplay. It doesn't always have to be. The brand doesn't always have to be loud. It doesn't have to be Bottega, YSL, Gucci, Louis, loud, monogram prints, and so. And I think that's interesting. Both of us were kind of on that wavelength. So, but luxury of the week.
Love it. What's the at?
Oh, the at is the Durag Shawty, and so we're spelling Shawty like you're an ATL. Okay, so it is SHAWTY. So the Durag Shawty.
Super cute. Yeah, y'all go get you a Durag. Super cute. Oh, you can get like matching ones with your man. That'd be really cute.
Guys, I'm obsessed. Wait until you guys actually see like the campaign that they have for it, and it's an amazing story behind the brand. But when you see the actual campaign, it's beautiful. I love it. It's Black women, it's Black men, beautiful Black people with gorgeous skin and literally colors, prints that accentuates our beautiful brown skin in different shades. So literally, I have to show you the.
Yes, I'm going on Instagram. I want to see.
Yes,
I want to see. Yes. Okay, so child, I just realized we skipped the wine altogether.
Honey, okay. You know what? I think we were just so excited to talk about our treats. But it's a good switch up,
It is.
We did take a break, so hey, we're just switching a few things up for you guys. Got you. It was you.
We did that on purpose.
For sure. Okay, so I'll go ahead and grab the one.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Pass it down.
Okay.
Oh, this is
so cute.
So cute.
Get into it.
What Doja Cat say? I just gotta get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Literally. This is so cute. This is called Gerard Bertrand Côte des Roses. It is a Grenache Serious and Salt from France, it looks like. There is no... Oh, here we go. We get a little description. This wine embodies the south of France lifestyle. Fresh and fruity, this Languoc is ideal at 50 degrees Fahrenheit as an aperitif or with shellfish and subtly spiced dishes. All right, so they said that this one goes good with fish, light foods, slightly spicy things. So let's check it out and see. I'm excited.
It's definitely giving like Italian appetizers vibes for sure.
Yeah. Now, okay, I was like, I hope I'm gonna be able to.
Well, at least like pairing well with it,
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why, everything white wine always just makes me feel like pasta, Italian.
It does. I mean, and it's not just because like Italian is my favorite food, but it really does pair very well. So, honey.
Pour me out, please.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. In the words of Lil Jon. Okay. Let's try this one out.
Yes.
Girl, I got this like oversized dress on. It's like a Free People.
I love
it's like this huge, but it's like sliding all over me. Good Lord.
That's the only thing about Free People, even though it gives perfect like boho chic vibes. It runs super large, and usually they have broader shoulders.
I'm like, please, he's trying to expose me. Okay, Lord. Okay, let's see. My hands not having nails on them is so crazy, girl.
I know. Speak on it. Same. I'm dying to get back out there next week.
This has a very buttery smell almost. Definitely catching a lot of pear in there, but it has a lot of bitter notes in it. Like it almost smells buttery.
Really?
I'm interested to see what you think. Okay, I'm gonna open it up.
What do we say?
I really like this one. Okay, so I don't normally go for pink tinted wines. So rosés, like Zinfandels, they're just not my thing. Which is crazy because I love whites. But this one is good.
Really? Yeah, I know we both weren't really impressed with the Rosé Bay from episode 7.
This is better than the Rosé Bay easily. This one is light. It's very light, but it smells very strong. And the only way to explain that is that it tastes the exact same. It tastes the exact opposite. So like it tastes very light, but it has very strong undertones. Like you can feel the kick afterwards.
Okay, that like a little bit.
Try it and see if you see what I mean.
Okay. I definitely smell the strong pear undertones or notes.
Yeah.
But it does. It smells quite strong.
It smells strong, but then when you taste it, see if it tastes as strong as it smells. So if you feel like, oh, it's lighter than I thought it would be.
It's lighter than I thought it would be going down. It's pretty smooth going down.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best way for me to describe. But you can feel it. It gives like a slight tingle, but then it settles in, and then it just feels very smooth going down. So it's smooth initially, then you feel that tingle, you feel it settling, and then it just goes down.
I think smoothly. That's an accurate depiction of the experience. Truly. That's exactly how it is.
But it smells a lot stronger. It smells as strong as typically a lot more of like the reds.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It smells super strong, but it doesn't taste as strong. I like it.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
9 out of 10 for me.
9 out of 10? Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know, Gerard. I don't know if I'm giving you a 9 out of 10.
I think it's a 9 out of 10 for a white wine, but again, I'm not
for a pink, yes.
Or a pink,
yes. White, pink is white. It's like
what a pink tinted white.
I feel like it's pork, white meat or red meat. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Like people are always like,
it's not a red. It's not a red. That's what I'll say.
Pink meat.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, that's a good one. We endorse this one. Luxe Hour Podcast, we endorse it.
Stamp of approval.
Okay, I love it.
All right. Next up on the docket,
honey,
what are we talking about this week?
Honey, we are talking about realistic. We have to chuckle on this one. Realistic versus unrealistic standards.
Standards where?
In terms of relationships, significant others.
Okay.
So, realistic versus unrealistic. I feel like we need to say that again for complete clarity.
Okay.
Let's
do it.
We'll get into it.
I feel like you have some things to get off your chest. Like Alicia, we were talking about today what we were gonna do in terms of topics, and I was like, "Well, what are you thinking?" And she brought this one up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do that one." So I'm excited. Let's get into it. Let's just jump straight into it. So, standards that people bring into a relationship. What do you feel like are the normal or typical standards for our generation? Right. So we'll talk. What is this? Millennials.
We'll talk millennials. Yeah,
for 90 to, well, I would say like 80. I would say 88 to anybody born in the 90s.
Yeah, late 80s to anyone born in the 90s, pretty much.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, or at least, we might have to cut off after 96.
35. Basically, our 35 under the crowd. That's what we talking about.
Well, I guess we'll claim them. No.
I guess we'll take
I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding, y'all. Let y'all hold y'all you.
Come on, honey.
But no, so what would you say are like the kind of the typical standards that people
Are we going to break this down by men and women or just in general?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Whew,
let's
get into it.
Okay, ladies, I'm gonna tell our truth first. Okay, our truth, I believe, for women, the realistic standards or unrealistic. Let's go there. Or I think where our standards currently are. The standard currently is, okay, will he complete me? That's number one. So being your other half or completing you, some, spiritual feeling of he's my other half. I think it's also his height. It's also, does he earn at least 6 figures?
Okay.
And is he good looking? And is he a man of faith? Or at least does he have some sort of relationship with God? I feel like that's a standard for men and for women. And for men, I believe is she attractive? How fit is she, or is her body attractive to that particular man according to his standards? And does he see her as, I don't want to say partner, but does he see her as bringing to the table what he needs her to bring, whether that is a homemaker or whether that is more money? And I feel like that varies for men. But I feel like that's typically the standard. And basically, is she not a Jezebel? But I don't know if the faith category is that high for men as it is for women in general. What do you think?
No, I would agree. Like, I would agree that those are kind of the overarching categories from which we all pick our people. You know what I mean? Like, I think standards have changed a lot recently, like with the introduction of social media and being able to see kind of this inside look into other people's lives. So now I think there's this desire for your partner to have more, to be more, to do more, to be the best, the finest, the richest. People want to be power couples. People want to be couples of influence, and they want people who they feel like can meet them there on the one hand. And then you have this completely other group of people who's like, I just want love, right?
So true.
At some level, that's everybody's truest desire.
That is true,
right?
Yeah.
But then I think right now what's kind of going on is people's standards are clashing with one another, if that makes sense. Because to your point, women do want a man who's financially stable, you know what I mean? Partially because women are financially stable now, but that's always been a requirement for men in the same way that look like something has always been a requirement for women. But like things that people want now that aren't necessarily traditional are things like vacations, right? Like expensive gifts, things like your significant other spending a lot of money on you, or y'all spending a lot of money on each other.
Each other, this notion.
These are all things that are like people used to kind of grow together. And now people just kind of expect, like, no, you need to be grown when you get to me, which is fair. There's an argument for that, for sure.
Especially at a certain ages. I think the age in which, our parents, they would engage in holy matrimony back in the day.
Yeah.
It was significantly earlier. We're talking probably roughly nearly a decade, probably on average 7 to 8 years earlier than the average woman today.
Yeah.
Because the average woman today is 27, and it was like, you started getting into your mid-20s back in the day, and you were a spinster. It was like, oh my gosh, she's never gonna get married.
Yeah.
So
I wonder though, like, if it has anything to do with the fact, like, if standards rising, right? If people having higher standards for their significant other. It has anything to do with the fact that people are waiting later to get married anyway. So if people are like, listen, sis, right? Because back in the day, people were getting married at 18, 19, 21, 22 even.
For sure.
You don't really expect much. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always get out the mud.
I mean, if you have a car, great.
You know what I'm saying?
You can work your way up at your company working at the coal mine or at the factory, back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. But now people are like, we 30. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of playing a big part in it too.
I do think that plays a significant role because, again, that feeling of I've waited so long So I expect more. I expect greater. I've achieved more. I've had more time to hone in on the things that I want and to accomplish and obtain the things that I have. So therefore, since I've done more, I expect them to do more as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do think that is a major factor, but it's also, like you were talking about earlier, social media has played a huge role in that, because even the notion of these expensive vacations, Bora Bora and Santorini, Greece, and these exotic places.
That's become a standard almost. If we can't go on vacations and take pictures for Instagram, like, are we actually doing something as a couple?
Yeah. Are we actually significant to the world?
That's crazy.
And it's like couples they're seeking external validation for to solidify their relationship.
Yeah.
And instead it should be solidified by, okay, are we partners? Are we working together in tandem to sufficiently support each other's needs and provide each other with that partnership that we seek? Not to, not for an Instagram post, not for likes or comments or whatever, or shares, or to go viral, but are we genuinely doing this because we love each other and we're building and we're growing together? But social media's distorted everything.
It's like looking through a kaleidoscope. So what would you say are some like unrealistic standards that men have for women who they're dating?
I believe the most unrealistic standard, or I don't want to, it is unrealistic because I feel like it is diminishing essentially their access to the type of woman that they truly need. Right? So I feel like, and that comes in terms of physical attractiveness of that dream woman or the woman that they truly desire. Which again is a woman that's model-esque, gorgeous face, quintessentially gorgeous, with the perfect body, whether that be, again, whether she's a size 0 or a size 12, whether she's thick, slim, thick, or skinny, men still prefer for it to be perfect, right? So if it's going to be thick, you still have to have a flat stomach, or, nothing can jiggle, or, I want to see your V cuts. So I feel like that's an unrealistic standard because it, like I said, it just diminishes that access. So we're going to completely cut off the character of this woman because of her physical attractiveness. So again, putting them in a position to where you're completely cutting off character, which is the most pivotal part of, whether or not this is going to make a good partner for you.
Yeah.
And physical attractiveness, it comes and goes. I can gain 50 pounds. I can lose 50 pounds.
This is true.
I can go get surgery. There's a lot of things, there are a lot of variables here, but to completely say, okay, well, I won't talk to them because I want a woman who's slim, thick, and she's thick with a fupa, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That can change in the matter of 6 months. You know how much weight you can gain in 6 months or lose in 6 months? I think it's just ridiculous. That's the number one thing for me.
Yeah.
What about for you? Or something else that you add to the list?
I would agree with that altogether. And then I would add that I don't know that men hold women to any other standard besides that, right? There's the only other standard that I hear some men throw around, and it's only a particular type of man. It's like, she need to bring whatever I'm bringing to the table. So if I'm making XYZ, she need to be making her own money. She can't just sit at home.
What particular type of man is this? I'm curious to hear you elaborate on this.
There is a particular type of man who really takes up an issue with having to do things that fall up under the masculine umbrella.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to delicately.
She's trying to delicately
there's
articulate.
There's a certain type of man who genuinely does not feel like he should have to do
the traditional masculine.
I don't even know that I would even go as far as to say traditional masculine. So this is something that I just want to take a bit of a detour, right?
Sure, absolutely.
A big part of New Age ideology, progressive ideology, right, is that gender roles in their traditional essence are null and void, right?
Okay.
That they're useless, that's not how you should operate, right?
Okay. I'm seeing your direction. Yes, ma'am.
But New Age philosophy also is 100% rooted in this idea of perfect balance between the masculine and feminine, between good and evil, yin and yang, right and wrong, left and right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Masculine and feminine are products of nature. And so in any harmonious relationship, there has to be somebody doing the masculine stuff and somebody doing the
balance.
Y'all can mix and match who does what. Who cares? Like, somebody has to do it.
Correct.
And there is a large subset of men who truly feel like, why do I have to provide for this woman? Why do I have to protect this woman? Why is it my responsibility to make sure this woman feels loved, right? Why is it all the way up to me to make sure my household is afloat, right? Like, and he just feels, it's a man who feels like his resources are his, and he doesn't have any interest in leveraging those resources towards the support of a woman.
But to your point, someone has to do it. And a lot of men, regardless of whether they're part of that subset or not, they essentially believe that men are the stronger vessel. I believe that that's the general consensus of most men. Men are the stronger vessel, women are the weaker vessel, right? So with that being said, why wouldn't you? Why would you not be the head of household and to be the one to protect and provide?
Yeah.
If you're stronger, those are the areas that we need you to be the strongest in any relationship. Someone has to fill those roles.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like at this point, I think in that case, it's like, okay, if you do believe that you are the stronger vessel, then why would you not do what the stronger vessel would naturally do, which is create provision and protection? If I choose to go to battle, I'm going to put my strongest, my wittiest person to lead. I'm going to put him in first command. So again, if I'm thinking of my family unit and we got to go to war and I'm putting together an army, that man, again, he is the strongest, right? He is so he's the smartest or the wittiest. Therefore, why would I not have him leading the charge? So I completely agree. And hopefully just, breaking it down that simple, I agree where the issue is, and I understand why you had to make that detour to really make it plain for the people, but
yeah,
beautifully said.
I think it's fair to call out that whenever I hear men argue from that perspective, it's because they say things like, I'm not getting anything in return, right? What am I getting in return? So then it begs the question in terms of realistic versus unrealistic expectations. Do men's expectations of women remains kind of what it always has been, right? So women have kind of taken up this stance where she says, why do I have to X, right? In the same way that men are saying, like I just said, you have the woman who's like, why do I have to be the caring one? Why do I have to be the nurturer? Why do I have to be the one that cook or take care of the home? How come I have to be the one to put my career on the line with these kids, right? How come I have to have sex and I don't feel like having sex, right? Like these are things that women kind of
have historically,
done. Yeah, and so men are kind of saying, well, what am I? So I guess from an expectation standpoint, I don't know if the problem is that men don't have expectations for women, or that because men don't feel like they can have expectations for women, they then laid aside their expectations for themselves. Does that make sense? Like, because men feel like, well, I can't, in this politically correct world, I can't require what I expect in return. So then she got to carry her own weight. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes sense. And I definitely believe that's the way a lot of people look at things. I would also additionally say that I think that, to your point, the unrealistic standard of men being overwhelmingly, is she physically attracted to me? I think that just simply trumps the rest of their expectations, cooking, cleaning, how domestic she is, and the nurturing and the, you know, all of that. I think that oftentimes that just trumps that to the point to where they don't put those expectations off because they mainly have one, which their true expectation is, do you look good? Am I attracted to you? You know, am I attracted to you? Do I want to have sex with you? Do I want to put you on my arm at an event with my family? Do I feel comfortable giving you my last name and allowing you to represent me in that way? Because that, you know, that encompasses their pride, their ego, those different things. But I just believe that just truly overshadows.
So then let me ask you this. If men only have one expectation, can they have unrealistic expectations? If they literally only want you to look like something or to take care of yourself, is it fair to say that that's unrealistic? If they like, nigga, I only got one. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. I think that it's unrealistic to the extent that it is expected, because it is expected for you to be quintessentially beautiful. And when we talk about quintessential beauty, a lot of times that's in alignment with European, standards of beauty. So then it becomes a full-time job. That's why a lot of women beauty is $1 billion industry. You have a lot of women going to everything from bleaching their skin to wearing $1,000 wigs to getting $10,000, BBLs, trying to fit the picture perfect image of beauty that a lot of men are saying is their standard. Because I don't care how many men will say, oh, we don't want the Cardi B's and the Instagram models that look super plastic, but who's liking their pictures? Who's commenting? Who's drooling over them? Who's obsessing over these girls? Who is essentially keeping them in business? Who's supporting their OnlyFans? Now, I will admit that women, we do kick ourselves, and we do need to stay on code with that. We kick ourselves because we say, well, this is all you guys want. This is the standard of beauty. But then we turn around and support it and hype her up and follow her and like everything she does and support her more than we support our friends. So we do kind of kick ourselves with that, but let me get back on track. I think that it is unrealistic to the extent that they set the beauty bar.
Yeah. So it's like you feel like there's this one Instagram standard of beauty, like one shape, one skin tone, one hair texture. And if you don't fall exactly within that bracket, then men are like,
They're like, I guess I can.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I can put up with her. I really don't like, her nose or, how she wears her hair sometimes. It's in her natural state, or that's when men start picking apart the physical and they start, becoming really picky, with the character. But I think if we're being real, and a lot of men are being real, a lot of the character points, they can come or go,
So I wonder.
I think so.
No, I agree. But now it's kind of making me think, and I've never looked at it in this way before, but are women partly responsible for that, right?
Absolutely.
Because when I think about it, like, we go to extreme lengths to beat our faces, to completely doctor our appearance, correct, to mirror one aesthetic or the other, right? And then men look at this being men who don't understand this is like a picture, a perfect angle, they say, well, if you can look like this, I want you to look like this, right? Or if women can look like this, at some point, I want you to look like this all the time. So then men in their minds are like, this is how she looks, right? Or this is how she can look. And they don't understand that, like, well, no, that's not actually like girls just playing makeup. Like, that's literally like what we do since we're little. You know what I mean? Like, we play dress up when we beautify ourselves, but a woman doesn't always look that way, right? And so maybe I wonder, but then, like, what are women supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a catch-22 because that's absolutely it. We do play a role in this unrealistic standard of beauty that men have set, because women will download apps, take in their ways, lighten their skin, correct blemishes, erase stretch marks,
seen those before
filters.
And after videos. The videos where like they do the before they beat their face, and then they do like a little and they be like, this is a different person.
It's a completely different person.
You can argue, is that fair, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Is that
I
fair?
don't know.
That's so true. I mean, you know, and I definitely don't, you know, mean it in any type of way, but I've seen a lot of women completely transform, not from real life to Instagram, but in one picture. I've seen it completely transform. And not putting those women down at all, but I think that, again, we're talking about reality right here.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about realistic versus unrealistic, so we have to address these things, you know, but we do.
Yeah.
I think absolutely correct. We do play a role in that, for sure. You know.
So then if we flip the script, if we say, okay, men, obviously the beauty standards that we put on Instagram is not what we look like on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Except for this is what British I look like every day. But
timeless beauty, huh?
It's really because I don't know how to do makeup.
That's her. You know what? No, her aesthetic is a timeless beauty. It's very much so given modern day Felicia Rashad, and we all know that our dream that was our role model, and still is our role model to this day, is the Felicia Rashad. So that's timeless beauty. That's your aesthetic, and we know it. So
yes, I love it. I love a timeless classic elegance.
Yes.
But that makes me think. So if we put the show on the other foot, right? If you say, okay, men, it's completely unrealistic. For y'all to have these expectations of women from a beauty perspective, for women to look this way or that way or the other. Is it fair for women to expect men to have as much money as we expect them to?
No, it's literally, as you can see the excitement, okay? Because I do feel like this is something we need to address too. Okay. And as much as we're encouraging Black women to elevate into luxury, that doesn't mean that we're raising up some gold digging mindset or a mindset of he has to be a six-figure earner. He has to earn significant amounts of money in order for him to be at your standard. I think that that's just completely false, and it's terribly misguiding our youth. I think that, you know, that is fair, because I think that's the thing that we hold to the highest standard. How many women have you seen with very unattractive men, you know, that were, you know, had significant and abundance of money, and they weren't checking for the character. They weren't looking at anything else. They were weighing his financial stability almost as heavily as men weigh our beauty. Almost. Yeah. I believe it's almost about the same. So
no.
Yeah.
So I have a standard that we have from left field: commitment, right? Like there's this push and pull situation right now where some people feel like I'm single till I'm married, and then other people feel like you single till you start talking to me, right? Right? Like what is a realistic standard for when somebody should be committed to you, if you're pursuing relationship, or if y'all are just dating in general? What's a realistic standard for, should they be talking to other people? Should they not?
This is good. And I feel like if we're all being completely candid and open, and if we all are genuinely expressing what it is that we want, and we are both genuinely and authentically express that, hey, we want a relationship, ultimately we want marriage, which I think at this age, many of us millennials are at least somewhere on that path, or at the very least a relationship. That's what a lot of us want. So I feel like if we've established that, and we have been building towards that, we've went into talking, dating, you know, with the intention of a commitment, then I do believe that time frame, I think that's really realistic, that should be happening when you guys have talked through the ins and outs and you've learned that other person. But I don't see why that shouldn't happen in the first 6 months. Okay. I don't see why. I think it shouldn't happen too quickly either, unless, you know, hey, you're just that powerful love story, but, you know, which they do exist. But I feel like 3 months is a little too quick for me, but I would say a good 4 to 6, you know, anywhere from 3 to 6, I think is a realistic standard, if you guys have both established from the very beginning that this is what you wanted, a monogamous relationship at the least. Yeah. I feel like that's fair. Yeah. Because otherwise, what are we doing? We're wasting over half of our year. Yeah. You know?
So then what types of things do y'all or should y'all be doing in that space, right? If you aren't dating somebody exclusively, what what are fair expectations to have?
And I feel like we're kind of low-key speaking for a lot of our men, because a lot of our men kind of rest, in
the middle,
in that. I think that if we have, you said if we've not talked about exclusivity, or
even if y'all have, regardless, whether y'all are talking about
expectations,
it or not,
okay,
just as simple as like, if y'all are not exclusive, even if y'all have talked about it, even if y'all have said, okay, well, we want to be exclusive someday, if y'all are not, what's reasonable to expect in that time frame?
I feel like for sure in the first 2 to 3 months, I think.
No, I mean, like, what kind of behaviors? Like,
what behaviors? Okay,
how often should y'all be talking? How often should y'all be seeing each other? How often should other people be in the picture? Should y'all be checking if you find somebody else in their Instagram?
I think if we are truly being authentic and intentional, I think, like you said, it goes back to something you said earlier. We all desire real love. Above all else, we all desire real love. So I think if we're being real to ourselves, in the time period, if we're intentionally dating each other with the purpose of engaging in a relationship, not becoming exclusive immediately, but I would say in that first month for sure, you should be able to gather enough information, because you should be talking every day.
Okay, so
and I feel like
it's reasonable to expect
to talk every day.
Yes. What about hanging out? How reasonable?
I feel like if you're intentionally getting to know each other, really trying to get to know each other, it should be once or twice a week. Yeah. I feel like that's fair. Some people a little bit more, some people a little bit less, according to your love language, your schedules, do they conflict, all of that, other variables. But you should be seeing each other about once or twice a week. You should be communicating every day. That can look like FaceTime, it can look like calls, it can look like text messages. But I do feel like if you're being really intentional, the ultimate green flag is FaceTiming or calling that person, and having a conversation beyond words. Because again, majority of your communication is nonverbal. So it's kind of difficult to really, is that person chuckling? Are they laughing? Are they serious? Are they stuttering over their words? Those are things you need to know. Are their eyes shifting? So again, but I feel like during that stage, getting to know each other, we should be very intentional about connecting and having meaningful conversation, not just, oh, did you see what Meek Mill, his album, did you see what he just posted? I mean, yeah, we should be getting to know each other, but go deeper. Okay, what type of music, what type of genre do you like and why? How do you feel when you listen to this type of genre? Or having those conversations like, okay, what was your family background like? Or I feel like it should be much more intentional about getting to the root of that person. So it should be why, what has been your experience, how have you arrived here, what have you learned? Those are more the type of conversations that should be had at that point. Yeah. And then that's how I believe to know if you've been that intentional within the first month, pretty much what a lot of guys can say the first week, what bucket you're going to put. I've heard so many men say the first week, what bucket you're going to put that person into, or what category. Okay, are they just fun? Is there potential for a relationship? Are we just going to be casual sex buddies? Because a lot of people do that. You'll know. And then from there, as you discover, okay, I can continue to move forward with you, then the conversation of exclusivity should come. And then when you feel like, okay, this is a person I want to commit to on a deeper level, I want to bring them into my life and into my friend group and my family, then that's when you start talking relationship. And so I just really feel like, there are a couple of months, there's 1 to 2 months between each stage of talking, exclusive, relationship, for a deeper commitment.
So let me ask you this. So during that time, right, the time when y'all are just getting to know each other, trying to explore, okay, how far do we want to take this? What's a reasonable and realistic amount of money to be spent on dates?
Ooh, child. You talking about who's spent? Okay,
that's who should pay?
Who should pay? I want you to answer this one too. Okay, I'm gonna answer it first. Okay. So I'm gonna just let the cat out the bag. My thoughts on it's not a secret. Let the cat out the bag. I'm just being very transparent. It's not a secret that Alicia feels like Alicia knows that Alicia won't be paying for dates. That is not something that I believe that the person who's being pursued, I don't believe that I should be providing for our dates at all. Especially within the first couple months. I definitely do believe that you should reciprocate the attention, the intentionality, the effort, but there's so many ways to skin a cat, so many ways that you can do that. I feel like from an approach that's more suitable to the woman, the person who is being pursued. So again, but I was still probably typically around month 3 for me. That's when I'll show him he's appreciated with, like a picnic or something romantic evening. But in that time frame, ladies, I think that you can cook for him and things like that. I think that would be great. I've done that before as well. But I feel like the man should be paying for the dates. Absolutely. He should be the one providing, and he should be showing me that off top.
So $150, $200 dates. Do you think that's like what price range? Like what do you feel like is reasonable or
I think
acceptable?
what is reasonable, what's acceptable, I feel like is not Chili's 2 for $20. That's not acceptable. And not that I'm being bourgeois, you know what I mean? But
not to being what?
Bourgeois. But I think that what is acceptable is something that is thoughtful and that is not a deal. So that's why the 2 for $20 or 2 for $25 really gets on my nerves.
No Groupon.
Not initially. Wait until we get into like the relationship, and I've known that you're not looking for a deal when dating me. You know. So again, it should be out of the anyway. But I think that what's acceptable is something that, it's not a deal like a 2 for $20, 2 for $25. I think a place that is fairly reasonable is to be expected. And what I mean by that is, the average, your meals are about $15 and up. It has a nice atmosphere, a nice vibe. You're not going to see, quote unquote, your undesirables. It's going to create an atmosphere that is conducive to you guys to have an intimate conversation in a decent environment. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, that's not going down to Applebee's or Chili's. It's not happening. There's a lot of teenagers that are like out on dates or out with groups of friends. So that's why I say this. It's not to be bourgeois, but it's just to be realistic. But I think that it's acceptable because, again, you are your environment. So if I don't take myself to Chili's or Applebee's, they should think I'm going to let you take me there, or that I would feel less than disrespected for you to take me there. And I think that if we're being realistic, it's
Kelly eat at Chili's all the time, girl.
Okay, I do.
Chili's is Kelly's favorite restaurant.
And so I think that, sorry, Kelly girl.
Kelly, you heard it here first.
Sorry,
Kelly
Kelly
said
girl.
it's tacky.
But
it's time to let it go.
But I will say, it's not for me. And knowing my girl Kelly girl, we don't have to go some new places, baby. But I just feel like as you're elevating yourself into a life of luxury, you need to elevate all aspects of yourself. And what's so important to me is the environment you put yourself in. Because if you put yourself in, if you go to hole in the walls and you're constantly putting yourself in the hood around ghetto people, before you know it, you become a product of that environment. That programming is being done. So it's going to make you think, okay, it's okay for people to be loud, unruly, dressed inappropriately or not dressed up at all. Just scuttlebutt environments. I don't mean ghetto with the notion that only Black people can be ghetto. I mean ghetto in a general sense of things are not operating properly or they're not functioning at a decent capacity. That's what I mean by that.
I got you.
But you guys get what I'm saying. But so I feel like, again, you should be setting the standard for the type of environments that you frequent. So to me, whatever is acceptable is that. And what is expected is that. Because it is unfair. If you're taking yourself to Applebee's, if you're enjoying, those $10 meals and you don't ever find dime, I'm not saying that way. Because again, we all indulge in some $10 meals.
Yeah, she is lighting up this 2 for $20. Let me tell you something. If you find yourself on that 2 for $25 menu, you can call me for support, okay? You can call me for emotional support, because Lisa is turning y'all.
I'm sorry, and this is in no type of way. I don't mean to.
I'm just messing with
I
you,
definitely
but
don't
no.
mean to like tear down anyone's notion of this because if in St. Louis, all I'm going to eat is pretty much food under $10. All like Chinese food, all of that. I love me a good spot from a hole in the wall here and there, but when we're talking in terms of dining, dating, I think that you have to be mindful of your environment, but also the way you treat yourself. Treat yourself to something nice. A lot of times I think we look at these restaurants and we get intimidated and we think that, okay, I can't afford to be there, or certain places you can't afford to be there. So again, just elevate your environment, but during dating, I think it's acceptable to expect that man to give you what you give yourself, at the very least. So again, don't be that person to where if you wouldn't pay for $100 dinner, if you've never been to $100 dinner or pay for that for yourself, there is no reason why you ladies should be expecting a man to do that for you. I personally think so. It shouldn't be an expectation. It should be something you're excited to do.
So you think that your expectations should be in line with whatever you provide for yourself or can provide for yourself?
That your expectation. That's not to say that can't be your desire, but your expectation. Let's be reasonable, ladies. That's where we have it twisted.
Yeah.
That's where we essentially, screw ourselves. We do. We absolutely do. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just rambling.
Girl, you good.
I mean, what about you? If I could ask you the same question in terms of women having, what should they expect throughout that dating process of, moving from casually dating to exclusivity to relationship? What are some places, I guess, to where I didn't talk about it, where we're missing the mark?
I think you covered most of it. I kind of share my thoughts from two perspectives. So I'll share from me personally and then versus what I feel like is fair as a baseline, right? So in terms of baseline standards, I am a huge advocate for dates or being places in public together. So I have been like this, literally since I started dating, where our first date will not be at your house. It can't be at a house. I think that it's important that y'all see how you connect together by being out in the world. If y'all start having chemistry, it's easy for anybody to connect or to have chemistry or intimacy when you're in an intimate environment, right? When you are sitting in a dimmed living room in front of a TV or with some music in the background. I think it is fair to expect to be taken on dates, right? To be taken out of the house. I think that it is fair to expect your significant other to be able to provide you with the things that you provide yourself with. I agree with you 100% there. If you are maintaining a certain lifestyle or level for yourself, it's 1,000% acceptable to expect your significant other to be in the same exact place. It is unfair to expect relationship benefits from somebody that you will not commit to. One thing that I think people do a lot these days is they want the relationship without the responsibility, without the commitment.
Relationship without responsibility. Can we coin that, please?
Everybody just pause there. We'll just let it
marinate.
But no, really, people want to feel like they have somebody without putting the work in to build that long-term relationship. I think that's unfair. I think it's unfair to expect that you have the bond or the connection with somebody that you see on Instagram, however real it may look, without putting the time in, without putting skin in the game. I think people expect perfection from people. There's nowhere for people to kind of grow or just be human. And I think that is unfair. People want you to be put together on your P's and Q's, top 10s all the time. And I wonder what happened to relationships being a safe space. For me personally, relationships are, especially romantic relationships, are all about the intimacy. There's nothing more important. And by that, I mean, how do we connect with one another, right? care more if the dates are thoughtful than I do if they are expensive, and I care more if they are fun than I do if they are frequent, if that makes sense, right? Okay. So I don't need to go out as much as I need to see you, but I don't do well. Now that was from a generic standpoint. From me personally, if we talking, that's got to be it. I don't know how to do the whole, well, you talking to other people and I'm talking to other people, but we talking to each other. Is we talking to each other or not? Like, so I do really, really bad with that, which makes dating terribly difficult.
Because you're truly dialed in. You're all in.
Yeah,
which a lot of us do as a defense mechanism. I don't want to say a lot of us, but a lot of people do as a defense mechanism. So let's highlight that. Yeah, they don't dial all the way in. Okay. In order to guard their heart. Yeah.
I don't like shallow things. So anybody that knows me knows that I have literally an aversion. Like, I hate shallow things. I hate small talk. I hate casual conversation. I just don't like it. Because of that, I don't just like company. I don't just like to go on dates to get the free food. Like, I want to like get to know a person. I want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, what happens to two people having a relationship where this is the one place in the world where you don't have to be your best self at all times, truly safe, intimate connection in that space is really what matters to me, like over everything else. So that's me personally, but I agree. But men have a habit of wanting the most from women. They want you to play house with them until they decide whether or not they want to be something with you. That's unfair. That is largely unfair. Women want to be tricked on. They want the man that they don't even like, well, but he gonna take me out, and you know what I mean? Like, he there, he gonna answer the phone, he'll buy me and my girls drinks. Like, that's unfair. It's unfair because I think about, like, from a perspective, I was a man, and maybe this is what men do, right? Who knows? Yeah. If it is my responsibility to pay for everything that we do together, what you are then asking a man to do is to put a value on how worth it you are to be around. Because if I was a man, I'd be like, well, I'm gonna take you out one time, and we're gonna see how. If I don't like, I'm not gonna keep taking you out 3, 4, 5 times, and I don't like you. Now, men are largely driven by the pursuit of sex, so for them, a lot of times it's like, I'll take you how many times I need to get what I'm looking for. But I can understand the perspective of I'm not, because I hear men say things like, I'm not spending money on you to get to know a person. I don't think that is right, but I understand the sentiment, right? Yeah. I'm only going to spend so much money is what I would say. I
would say that's more fair.
Any woman that you're pursuing, it is more than fair. Should be an expectation that she has a first date outside of the house, that you take her, that you, if you pursuing her, that you dress nice, that she dress nice, that you put your best foot forward for that time that you're trying to explore. Okay, do I want to get to know this woman? Do I want to get to know this man, right? But if on that first date, I'm like, that ain't hitting for me, if I know that I'm going to have to pay for the second one, I'm probably just not going to take you on the second one. And maybe that's where a lot of girls end up getting, like, ghosted. Maybe what men are really saying is, like, you're not spending time with you ain't worth it. It's not fun. It's not worth me paying money, all these.
And I think,
and I don't know that that's right or wrong, but I just know for me personally, and that's not even to say that I don't expect my man to pay for dates. Because I expect my man to drive and pay for dates. I use my debit card sometimes, but I'm not going to get behind that wheel. I'm not going to do it. If I have to drive, something has to be wrong. Are you injured? Are you... I don't know. That's all it is. Listen, I can't think of anything else.
Unless I really can't, same thing, like, if I really don't know you, or if I really don't trust you, that you could protect me and that you have my well-being at heart, I'm not letting you take me around the block. But typically, at least after a few dates, I can kind of tell, okay, well, I can let you know, I can at least let you come pick me up. But anytime a man asks, oh, would you like me to come pick you? Yes. Absolutely, especially once we're exclusive and I really know you.
I for sure drive myself the first few days. But if we like together and talking,
maybe you drive. I'll rub your head.
And I want to be with you every day. That's what you drive every day. And we don't even have to do anything. I love when I'm with a guy and we can just go to the stores, we can just run errands, we can go get a tire changed, we can run to the mall, try to find something to wear for his sister's wedding, like, you know what I mean? Like, I
just
like
quality time. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah, I like just genuinely building that authentic
day-to-day.
Spending day-to-day time with you, yeah. Because everything else feels like corporate politicking to me, right? When you get dressed up to your finance, then you look better than you
go to the interview.
Yeah, it's an interview, and then all the dates become interviews. It's like, okay, what the ones where we just like eat a catfish plate? You know what I mean? Like, we're the ones where we just like ride around in your car or... I just like a healthy mix for me personally.
I get you. That's more authentic though, because if the goal is marriage or relationship, you're going to spend a significant amount of time together. And when you're married, you're spending every day together.
Yeah, you gotta
so you're
like,
gonna cook together.
You gotta just like
run
be in
errands
that
together.
person's space.
Correct.
You know? Yeah.
Because a lot of times I feel like you said, it's an interview, and so you want to know what it's like when they receive bad news, or when they get a bad phone call, or a bad text message, or when they're in their good moods, their bad moods. So you need to see them in all seasons of life. I do feel like that is realistic. I think that women are so scared of men's sentiment. Just going back to something you said earlier, women are so scared of men's sentiment of, well, I'm not about to spend all my money to get to know her, that they're not being real with themselves and authentically saying what it is that they desire, which is to be dated, to be taken out on dates, so or to spend significant quality time with someone, so they won't ask for it, but they do want it. And I think that I would even gamble and say I believe men want some quality time as well. Yeah. But again, that sentiment of, man, am I wasting this money on getting to know this woman, or is it reciprocal? Because also you can't just expect to be treated and taken out on dates, and you're not even showing this guy that you're interested. You're not asking questions. You're not doing anything thoughtful for him. You're never texting him good morning first. You won't pick up your phone and FaceTime him first. I think that it's unfair that in general, a lot of us women, we are looking at our happiness and we're completely forsaking what the man desires out of a relationship beyond beauty. And he does desire more than beyond beauty. He wants to know that he's wanted, he's needed, that he's also felt, he's also seen.
And that's what I think is an unfair thing that men do. Men almost have two separate sets of expectations, right? It's like, on the one hand, like you said earlier, beauty is all that matters, right? But that's like to get in the door, right? Because because then men have their own, and it's completely unique to each man, right? And I say this all the time. Anybody that knows me knows that I feel like each man has a particular design of woman that fits his particular life mission the best, right?
Absolutely.
And there's no way, because that looks so different for the man, right? So if your man is D.L. Hughley, right, and he's a comedian and he's gonna be on the road and he just likes to have a good time, like what he needs in a woman is gonna be completely different than what your Michael B. Jordan's may want in a woman, or what
your truck driver, your
truck
engineer,
driver. Your doctor. It's completely tailored to the man. And so many women try to essentially fit that glass slipper, and they're like, I don't understand why this man won't commit to me, or why he won't give me a title or make it official. Like, he don't mind spending time with me. He'll take me on dates and we have sex and like everything, and he just won't make it official. It's because like he got a different set of standards for that. You know? So a lot of women get caught in that whirlwind of, oh, he like me, he just don't like me enough.
Like you enough to go that next step.
Yeah.
And then I think also we don't communicate candidly.
We don't. And I don't think
on both sides.
And I don't think, what I think I'm truly learning is that men really don't even realize it until they realize it. Yeah. Like, they be their infatuation with you will carry them so far to where they don't even really realize that they don't actually like you until
something happens.
Yeah, or until you start being like, well, when we gonna be more than this? And you're like, I didn't think about that, right? Like, no, you're gonna be something else,
right?
So,
super friends.
Yeah. But like you said, I mean, I don't know, just rambling, but I think realistic and unrealistic expectations all the way around. But I think it's because each person needs something completely different. And I think everybody wants an exaggerated version of what they need because of exposure, right? If you are somebody because there's nothing wrong with being where you're like, well, I don't know, I like to get dressed up and I want to go out I want to go out twice a week for date nights, because there's plenty of men who love to be on the scene, who love to get dressed up, who love to put on his good cologne, and who love to have a fine woman hop out of his Audi. Like there's men for that. There's men who look at me when I be like, I am very much so if I go out Friday, I'm not going out Saturday, and if I go out Saturday, I'm not going out Friday type of person. There's plenty of men who like, I cannot do no homebody type of chick. I can't do that. I told you, one guy called me domestic. Like, I was like, so,
not like you a cat job.
I mean, I just say that to say like, there's expectations that we all have in the end, because mine gets romanticized in a way where it's like, you just want this is my person, like one of a kind bond with somebody, and it's like, is that realistic, right? So we all have heightened versions of what we naturally want
and desire.
Yeah.
And I think that whole notion of you complete me, you're my person, I think what we're just definitely saying is, I just don't want to be lonely.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be by myself.
But see, I don't think so, because that I'm an advocate for that, but that's because I truly feel like there's something that I've been called to do in this earth, and I feel like there's a partner for me to do it with, right?
Yeah.
Like biblically, I don't feel like God is like, oh, just pick any husband that like you, and that'll make. I think He got something for me to do.
I agree on
and
that.
I think He got a specific man. Now that is my conviction. That's my.
It's also mine.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. If you don't feel like it's nothing specific that you were put here to do, that won't make you happy. I just feel like there's an empire with somebody's last name on it that was written before I got here.
Is that you're attached to? Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm attached to it. Yeah, I feel like I'm attached to the purpose of my husband. I don't know who that is, but I've been saying that literally my whole life. Yeah. Whatever my job is to be a Michelle to somebody's Barack. Like that's just what it is. It's to be the left hand to the right hand. It's to be the brains to the body. It's to be the
help us to one another.
Yeah, it's to be the empire, the partner builder. So that's my role. So some people genuinely don't feel like, and a lot of people, this is like getting a little bit off topic, but people say that, and what I noticed is that it's 100% rooted in fear. If everybody, the number one reason and rationale for not believing that there is somebody for you is, well, what if I don't find mine? Well, if that was the case, everybody would find theirs, right? Mm-hmm. That's the number one rebuttal, but that's like rooted in fear. So you just gonna believe that it's nobody for you just because what if you don't find them? That's a dangerous thing to me, but I understand it. But anytime you ask somebody, well, do you believe in soulmates, or do you believe that there is somebody for you? Do you believe you have an ideal match? They say, I mean, it sounds good, but I don't think that's realistic, because if that's the case, like, why everybody
it's
don't
rooted
find
in fear.
It's
and I think
it's
rooted in the fear of I won't find them, and I won't be who I'm supposed to be for them to find me. Yep. I think that's the bigger.
That's
the bigger piece.
That's something right there.
Who I need to be
for them to find
in order for them to find me.
Because that starts to pull into we are already all constantly questioning. Am I in my purpose? Is this my purpose? Mm-hmm. What is my purpose? And so if you're questioning that within yourself, and then on the other hand you have somebody telling you that, oh, your soulmate's connected to your purpose. Well, then I'll never find them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start to be like, oh, ain't no soulmate. I just get to pick somebody, right? Like, yeah. But I mean, to each his own. Everybody has that. Everybody has that right, that responsibility. I just literally have a hard time even caring if it's not there for me. Like I do not care how fine you are, how much money you have, what size house you have in Atlanta. I do not care.
God, it's always a house in Atlanta.
It's always. But so that's that. That's it. We had expectations. I guess that's a good wrap up part. You have any last lingering thoughts on realistic and unrealistic expectations?
I think we covered it all and then some. This was, I think we can both agree that this was longer than anticipated, but it went where it needed to go.
Yeah, for sure. So, with that being said, if you are playing the dating field, if you are dating somebody, exploring an intimate connection, consider your expectations. Consider whether or not they are fair, whether or not they are in line with your values. and the things that are important to you, and consider whether or not the other person meets those expectations, or if they are fair. And if they don't, free them, free yourself, and y'all go find who you really supposed to be with.
Amen. And cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Out, honey.